People within NWA told to lay off criticism of AEW, who crowned a new world champion. Some fans are unhappy about it, and my full review of everything else at AEW Full Gear 2025. I'm Luke Owen and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Before we get into the full gear review, let's quickly fire up the Bitter Bretto-meter, as he was a guest on the Johnny I Pro show where he created not one, not two, but several headlines as he took bitter aim at as many people as he possibly could. So let's run through some of the potted highlights. In praising how Roddy Piper helped people, he said, in contrast to guys like Jake Roberts and Hulk Hogan, who never passed the torch to anybody, all they did was take and take and take. Two of the biggest pieces of in wrestling. Oh yeah, that's a good one right there. Look, the Bitter Bretto-meter is moving a little bit up there, but it's kind of easy to take a pot shot at Hulk Hogan, isn't it? Surely you can do better than that, Bret. Shawn Michaels was so envious and jealous of my position that he finally had to sleep with Vince McMahon to get it. That's a good one, actually. A bit of a twist on the old classic. But Bret, do you have anything to say about modern wrestling compared to the good old days? I'll be honest, I have a hard time watching today's wrestling. I just can't really watch it. It's too fake for me. Ah yeah, that'll get some old timers on podcasts nodding their head thoughtfully. Very good, Bret, but can you needlessly point that criticism at a modern day wrestler that everyone really likes? Who's that Irish guy? Sheamus does those fake punches all the time. I see him and I'm like, why don't you take 10 minutes and go down and have someone teach you how to throw a punch instead of throwing that embarrassment of a punch? Oh, Bret, that is perfect, but for the sake of Billy Balance, can you also take a shot at somebody else from another company? MJF? Who is that? Just curious though, who is it? Ah, that is great. You literally had an in-ring segment with him on AEW's first ever pay-per-view, but I'll be honest, Bret, we need to wrap this up. I've got a long pay-per-view to review, so can we combine some of the bitterness? Like, praise someone controversial while also sliding into one of your classic bitter Bretisms. I've always heard from different guys that Brock Lesnar is a professional, like he's really good. Say the line, Bret. Say the line, Bret. He's not like Goldberg. Yeah! But enough of that fun, it's time for my review of AEW Full Gear 2025, which had a pre-show that saw the Bang Bang Gang win a fatal 4-way tag team match to earn $200,000. QT Marshall and the Costco guy beat Roppongi Vice, and Eddie Kingston and Hook quickly beat the Work Horsemen. The latter was done as a bit of a misdirect for the main event, neatly explaining why Kingston and Hook would both come out for Hangman's aid, and also to have a backstage segment that introduced the Ops Dojo lads. Then they did that gimmick where the final match of the pre-show spilled over into the main card, which I really quite rather love, as El Sky team of Mystico, Mascara Dorada, and Neon defended the CMLL Trios Championships against the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita Hechicero and Kazuchika Okada, the latter of which was late due to travel issues, at least that's what Don Callis told us. Takeshita and Hechicero made it an even match though by posting Mystico, forcing him to the back, and by the time the main show started, Okada came out very much disrespecting Takeshita. Previously, Okada has been accidentally hitting Takeshita, but not really feeling all that bad about it. But here it was no accident. It at times felt like he was purposely trying to hit Takeshita with moves. This led to their downfall as Hechicero was made to tap out by Mystico, who returned from the back as Okada and Takeshita were being held on the outside. This was a really good match and a neat way to further the story between Okada and Takeshita, who were both announced for the C2 that kicks off this Wednesday. Technically, the opening contest of the Full Gear main show was Darby Allin taking on Pac in an awesome match that told a brilliant story. Pac wanted this to be a straight wrestling match to remove all the bells and whistles that has led to Darby having so much success against the Death Riders, but what Pac hadn't accounted for was Darby is also a really good wrestler on top of being a daredevil. They had some great graps whilst also having sick Darby bumps as he was press slammed from the apron to the floor and did a shotgun dropkick to Pac from the top rope to the floor, because who needs a back? In the end, Darby got Pac in the Scorpion Deathlock, but he immediately signaled for Yuta to come down and cause a distraction. In the melee, Pac hit Darby with Sting's bat and got the win, despite the referee hesitating on the count because he knew something was afoot. A brilliant match and a victory that would play into a loss later in the show. But hold on, there's breaking news from Telleria. Praise be to the Dark Lord Cyril. We've heard all sorts of rumors about a shock signing of Raven to Telleria, but In fact, it's the ultimate death night in the world of Raid Shadow Legends. Click my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to get amazing bonuses available only via my link. Just use the promo code UDKING and you'll be able to get yourself the ultimate death night to aid your roster of heroes. But it's not just that. Once you download the game via my link in the video description down below or by scanning that QR code on screen, you'll also get Ultimate Gaelic and the epic champion Zargala, legendary champion Green Warden Ruach with the promo code TREEHUGGER, legendary Alice the Wanderer with the promo code GETALICE, legendary Tunharak with the promo code DESERTQUEEN, legendary Sun Wukong MONKEYKING with the promo code MONKEYKING, and legendary Thalon Foulbeard with the promo code DEMONSLAYER. So click the link now in the video description to secure your heroes right this second. There's loads and loads and loads of heroes to choose from. Grab them now while they're still around. Grab them right now, right this second. Grab them with your hands and your feet. My favorite, of course, is Sun Wukong, mainly because he's so incredibly bloody cool. Just look at him go. And you can come play with us in our clan, WrestleTalk. So join us now. Do it now. Do it or else. Or else what you say? Well, or else I'll stop doing wrestling news forever. That's right, I have that power, always have. I have the powers of a god, a wrestling god. The Timeless Love Bomb's got a win in a Four Corners tag match against the Sisters of Sin, Babes of Wrath, Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne, the latter of whom came out as Poison Ivy once again to make Ollie Davis pop a boner. Penelope Ford was also out as Harley Quinn, DC tie-in. This had great action throughout and Toni Storm got the win with the big package. They will now get to pick the stipulation for the semi-final match in the tag team tournament. FTR captured the tag titles in a brilliant match against Brodido, who have been a success story of AEW in 2025. Two guys thrown together, but their insane chemistry and genuine friendship has elevated them beyond where they were on the card previously. The match had a great story too, that no matter how good Brodido are individually and together, they were no match for the tag experience of FTR. There were some shenanigans with the title belt for a really great near fall, and FTR gave Brody King the spike pile driver on the apron to take him out. Bandito did his best to fight back, kicking out of a spike pile driver on his own, but the match was definitely over and he knew so, and there was only so much he could take, and FTR hit the Shadow Machine for the win. Superb stuff. I've been a bit sniffy about the introduction of the AEW National Championship. I just don't think that AEW needed another mid-card title when you just got rid of two of them to make the Unified Championship. And yes, for those at the back who seem to think me saying AEW has too many titles means I don't think WWE do, yes, WWE also has too many titles. Ollie and I were also rather dismissive about this title, as we said this was likely introduced just to give Bobby Lashley something to win because they don't have any singles title plans for him anytime soon. So imagine my surprise when Ricochet won it. It was a fine Casino Gauntlet, but was missing some of the big surprises. The only one was Matt Bernard, who came out to target Daniel Garcia, which was a cool moment. But even with Ricochet winning, his future is clearly still the Hurt Syndicate, as GOA took them out just as the match started. And I feel like I've watched about 3 final matches in their feud, and now it involves a title belt. A title belt that's also had some controversy around it. While it is not within the official lineage, it is clear that AEW's National Championship is a tribute to the NWA National Championship that was defended on TBS way back in the day until it was merged with the NWA United States Championship in 1986. The design of the title is old school, its name is old school, this is in all but its actual lineage the National Championship of the NWA territory. There is that the NWA still has the National Championship, which they brought back in the late 90s and again in 2018. It's currently held by Mike Mondo, who tweeted when the title was announced, "Let me be clear, there is only one NWA, there is only one prestigious National Championship that holds legit lineage and has for decades. So to Tony Khan or anyone else confused, here's the legit title with the company it belongs to and the legit National Champion." Tony Khan has since said he's had a nice conversation with Billy Corgan of the NWA about the title, and also said that he's aware that some wrestlers from the NWA have their thoughts about AEW doing their version of the belt. He said on Twitter, "To any wrestlers anywhere in the world, particularly you in the NWA, you might be happy to hear Billy and I had a nice talk about this. I'm sure he would say the same." And now Fightful Select report, it was claimed to Fightful that NWA talent and personnel were asked to lay off the criticism of AEW's national title, but not by AEW themselves. Sean Rossap adds, it was implied to him that it was the NWA who told their wrestlers to stop criticizing AEW online. When AEW announced a Dynamite match between Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly, I figured it was just a match to give Mox a win back after his loss to Darby Allin at WrestleDream. Little did I know, it would become one of my favourite feuds and stories in wrestling right now, and is likely going to lead to the downfall of Jon Moxley as the leader of the Death Riders. Bryan Danielson really put over the no-holds-barred stip of the match, noting that it isn't so much about weapons, but more about being able to do submissions that are usually banned. But this is a Jon Moxley match and he likes weapons, so he got a fork and started stabbing. Kyle made a comeback with some stabbing of his own, but in the end got the biggest of big successes. He tapped out Jon Moxley again. Marina Shafir looked on at ringside very disappointed. It also looks like Kyle hurt his arm during the match, as it's been announced that he's been pulled from the C2 due to injuries. Mox got back into the ring to kick Kyle some more and did a backstage promo where he asked who the real winner was. Now, usually I would make the joke, Kyle is the real winner. But that is the point. Mox is telling himself he's the winner, but he knows deep down that he lost. And crucially, the rest of his team know that he lost. I really liked that match, I loved it in fact, but the hardcore nature of it did hurt the following match as Mark Briscoe looked to win the TNT Championship from Kyle Fletcher with a no DQ stipulation. Now there was an easy way to separate these two matches, have one be about wrestling holds and the other one be about weapons. But they both featured weapons, they both featured blood, and they both came one after the other. It's a shame because I really liked the story of this match and the match was really good, I just couldn't get into it as much as I wanted to. Mark got the win and is your new TNT champion. Kyle Fletcher later announced himself for the C2. We did get a different flavour of ice cream in the next match as the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander beat Kenny Omega and Jurassic Express in a match for $1 million. This was the party match you'd expect it to be and was tremendous, but all came to a head in the post-match. Don Callis handed the Bucks the big bags full of cash and told them, "You're part of the family now." They walked to the back as other members of the Don Callis family beat down Kenny Omega in the ring. The Bucks didn't really know how to feel about this. They definitely didn't like what was happening, but Don was telling them not to worry. They now had a choice to make: friendship or money, and friendship won in the end. They ran down for the save, shaking hands with Jurassic Express and hugging Kenny Omega. The Elite are back together once again. By this point, 3.5 hours into the main show, this new Joyzy crowd were getting a bit tired. It meant that Mercedes Mone and Kris Statlander had somewhat of an uphill battle getting everyone into the action of their match, which was really good for the record, and there was a great inbuilt storyline as Statlander failed to beat Mone for the TBS Championship at last year's Full Gear, but it wasn't until the final few minutes that the crowd really woke up. I've seen some people say it was a crowd miking issue, as the crowd in the building were hotter than it came across on screen, and in some ways I can buy that because I've heard some people say the same about the Forbidden Door crowd, which I was a part of, and it felt like we were super loud in the building. But at the same time, I heard how loud the New Jersey crowd were at the start of the show, and I heard how less loud they were towards the end. So I don't know how much of it was a miking issue. Statlander got the win with Saturday Night Fever out of nowhere. The same of the crowd can be said for the main event of Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page, but perhaps some of that can be put down to the fact that no one believed that Samoa Joe was winning the World Championship. Fightful even reported ahead of Full Gear when talking about the betting odds, Hangman Page is a monster favourite on this show. The two had a brilliant steel cage match for a bit that had the right level of violence and brutality that both benefited the stipulation, the storyline, and the character of Hangman Page. It was like this new mode gets unlocked when he steps inside the steel cage, the same mode that once saw him burn down someone's house. But sadly, the cage stipulation fell apart when we started getting interference. Shibata ran down and Eddie Kingston ran him off, and then Hobbs came down to rip the lock off the cage so he could just get inside the cage. In all of this, Page got a visual pin on Joe and, because the door was now open, got another visual pin when he hit the buckshot lariat. Hook ran down to wake up the referee, but instead clocked Hangman Page with the title, and Samoa Joe hit the muscle buster to become a two-time AEW World Champion. Hook took off his hoodie to reveal he's part of the Ops once again. And when I tell you that I was surprised by this title change, it does a disservice to the word surprised. And over the last 24 to 48 hours, there has been a lot of discussion and debate about this title switch. I've seen a lot of fans who hated this finish, hated that it was a cage match with interference, and hated that Hangman Page lost the title so soon after winning it. I've seen others defend it, arguing that not all title reigns need to be long. It's not like he won it last month and this was his first title defense. He won it back in July and has several big title defenses under his belt. I saw one person point out that Page's title reign was longer than all but 2 WWF Championship reigns between 1996 and 2003. I've seen people in our comments and our podcast complain about long title reigns, specifically pointing at Cody Rhodes, saying they're too predictable and a bit boring after a while. So doing a shock title change like this, one that virtually no one predicted, arguably is the most exciting way to keep fans on their toes, and all title defenses could lead to a title change. But Hangman Page is also the company's main character, and his title win at All In was a cathartic one that fans desperately wanted to see. It does feel too soon to be taking the title off of him. Has this put heat on Joe winning the title, or on AEW for booking Page to lose? I think time will tell on that one. At the moment, it does feel like the latter, but I have been wrong in the past, and Lord knows I'll be wrong again. But the show wasn't over there as the lights went out and the Silver Nana heralded the return of Swerve Strickland, who came down to beat up all the Ops Dojo lads that we'll probably never see again and stand shoulder to shoulder with Hangman Adam Page. My assumption will be they'll do a triple threat main event at World's End, which will mirror the Revolution match back in 2024. And of course, a big thank you to today's video sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Please do click that link in the video description down below. Click it right now. Overall, Full Gear was another superb pay-per-view offering from AEW, who have not missed in 2025. It wasn't perfect, because few shows really are, but its highs outweighed any of its lows. And over the weekend, we posted a new episode of Tables, Lists and Chairs, where we counted down the 10 best John Cena matches with our special guest, Mr. Santi Zap. Click the video on screen right now to check it out.